Hey, what is up everybody, it's Animac here for Anime Uproar, and as the MHA manga enters what appears to be its final stage, and as the story is seemingly coming to its epic climax, people have been asking me whether I think that a big time skip will happen at the end of the story, or if there might be a time skip and then a sequel, kind of like Naruto Shippuden. In this video, I will break down what a My Hero time skip could look like, who would live, who would die, and where the story would go from here. The MHA time skip has the potential to be one of the craziest of all time, so let's get into it. You guys know the drill. If you enjoyed these videos and you want to see more in the future, leave a quick like and comment. It only takes a second, but it helps with that YouTube algorithm. And remember that subscribing and hitting that notification bell is a completely free way to directly support the channel, and it's a very important thing on YouTube. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at Anime Uproar. Finally, this video will contain Boku no Hero manga spoilers, so please proceed with caution. You have been warned. So, with Horikoshi confirming that the current events in the manga are part of the final act of the story, and with some speculating that the manga could end as early as this year, a lot of MHA fans are kind of freaking out about what's going to happen next. Is this really the end for Boku no Hero, like it's actually over? Or is there going to be some form of continuation, regardless of what happens in this final act? It's hard to say for sure, because at the end of the day, it's up to Horikoshi to decide, but if you're wondering whether MHA is profitable and whether they would make money if they kept going, the answer is a definite yes. The manga has sold over 65 million copies to date, and it was the 5th best-selling manga of 2021, so last year. On top of that, the anime, the movies, and the merch make a ton of money, so as long as Horikoshi is willing to continue the story in some way, he will definitely have every opportunity to do so. MHA is certainly not about to get cancelled by the publisher or anything like that, and even if Horikoshi decided that he didn't want to keep working on the manga personally, the publisher could still continue it with another mangaka, as was done with Dragon Ball Super and early Boruto, as long as Horikoshi agrees, of course. So far in MHA, our biggest time skip was only a couple of months, but could we see a time skip of several years that completely changes the world and the characters? I think that this is not only possible, but even likely. We can't forget that the whole MHA series starts off with an older Deku telling us the story of how he became the greatest hero. So the idea of seeing Deku as an adult who has become the greatest hero is already baked into the narrative. The only question is, what kind of time skip will this be? Will it be a time skip that takes place just like in the final chapter of the manga as a sort of epilogue? Or will it be a time skip that leads into a continuation of the story, like with Naruto Shippuden? A lot of this depends on how the current war arc against the villains will turn out. If all the major villains are either killed or captured in this war arc, then they won't pose a threat after the time skip, and any possible continuation would need to introduce completely new villains. That is certainly not impossible, since the fact that quirks are becoming more powerful with each passing generation is well established in the story. So we could totally see a younger villain with an overpowered quirk emerging as a major threat. But if some of the major villains that have already been introduced survive and evade capture at the end of the war arc, then they could also become a threat after the time skip, and they would likely be even stronger as time goes by. I personally believe that this war arc will bring an end to all the major villain plot points in the story. I don't think All For One will survive this battle. In fact, I think he might even be killed by Shigaraki himself. Dabi may also die just because his obsession with Endeavor has completely clouded his judgment and common sense, and many of the other villains could end up in Tartarus. Over the years, there's been a lot of speculation about whether or not Toga could ever be rehabilitated, but her recent actions in the manga suggest that she has no intention of abandoning the villain life. So my guess is that after the war arc, she will end up in prison, or better yet, a psychiatric facility of some kind of like the MHA version of Arkham Asylum. The biggest question, of course, is the fate of Shigaraki, who is the single strongest villain at this point in the story, and I don't see any other villain surpassing him anytime soon. Shigaraki could be killed in the final battle, he could be defeated but somehow survive and get away, or he could redeem himself by turning on All For One and the villains and becoming Tenkoshimura once again. The third scenario is definitely my personal least favorite, because trying to turn Shigaraki into a good guy after everything he's done just seems a bit corny. However, I do believe that Deku will try to do exactly that. Deku's biggest weakness has always been his desire to save everyone, and his belief that even the worst villains can be saved. He has explicitly stated that he wants to try and save Tenkoshimura, who is still trapped somewhere inside the supervillain known as Tomura Shigaraki. I say that this is Deku's biggest weakness because he is often willing to put himself in danger and even do reckless things in order to save other people. Assuming that Shigaraki won't just magically become a good guy, it is possible that he will try to make Deku think that he is still Tenko deep inside in order to trick Deku and get him to lower his guard. Shigaraki could then use this as an opportunity to attack and eliminate Deku once and for all. Now of course, spoiler alert, we know that Deku won't die. He is a shonen protagonist, and this is the story of how he became the greatest hero. So even if Shigaraki tricks him and his life is in danger, someone will show up to rescue him. I think that All Might may sacrifice his life in order to protect Deku from Shigaraki's sneak attack. And then All Might's tragic sacrifice will finally teach Deku a valuable lesson. Some villains just can't be saved, and you have to do what it takes to protect other people from these villains. Deku will then step up and kill Shigaraki in order to protect the rest of the world. At least that's what I hope will happen, and we won't have a cop-out like with Aang and Fire Lord Ozai, but that's a topic for a whole nother video. There have been many death flags for All Might throughout the course of the series, so if he were to die in the final battle, his lasting legacy would play a big role in the subsequent timeskip. Post-timeskip Deku would become more mature and less idealistic, and I can even see him being a lot more stern and serious, at least at first glance. I definitely think that some big hero deaths will occur during this war arc, especially among the older generations like All Might and Endeavor. A hero student may also die, but that's less likely in my opinion. Also, I think that Class 1B students are much more likely to die than the mains in Class 1A, so good luck to our boy, Neito Monoma. Now, the time skip could also show us what the UA would look like several years into the future, with a new generation of kids like Eri and Koda becoming the new students at UA, and with some of our favorite current students potentially becoming teachers. As I mentioned earlier, quirks keep getting stronger and stronger with each passing generation, so we can expect to see some incredible and overpowered quirks from the new generation of UA students. And I can totally see Deku becoming a teacher at UA, at least doing it part-time while also being a hero. I think that this would be a really cool way for Deku to honor All Might's legacy by following in his footsteps, and I think that it would be hilarious to see Deku trying to be a strict and serious teacher at first, but then despite his best efforts, his soft and kind nature inevitably emerges in hilarious ways. It's possible that multiple current UA students could end up as future UA teachers, although some are definitely better candidates than others. Like I think Ochaco, Tsuyu, Momo, and Kirishima would all make great teachers, but Bakugo and Mineta, not so much. Although Bakugo as a teacher at UA would be extremely entertaining to watch. But now for the most important aspect of all, shipping. Who will end up together after a lengthy time skip? To be honest, there is really only one ship that I am personally confident about, and that is Deku x Ochaco. Like, I'm 99% sure that this ship will be canon by the time the story ends, and that it will be featured in any potential time skip. The relationship between Deku and Ochaco has evolved in meaningful ways over the course of the story, especially in these last few arcs. And so you can definitely see them smoothly transitioning into becoming a couple. Don't get me wrong, they could still end up just being friends, but I just have a hunch that this ship will set sail. I know that some people really ship Deku with Toga, but I think the most recent arc in the story has kind of made it clear that this relationship will not work. And of course, Deku's relationship with Mei Hatsume never evolved beyond just a meme, so Ochaco is the only viable option in my opinion. Other ships in the series have had a bit of development, like Momo x Todoroki, Aizawa x Miss Joke, and Mineta x FBI Watchlist, but there's not that much there other than fan speculation. I also think that All Might x Deku's mom would be an amazing ship. I'm all for it, but it can only happen if All Might actually survives, and if we get a proper explanation for what's going on with Deku's father. I'm definitely hoping that Horikoshi will explain the father situation soon, because he did say that he would do it eventually. Now the story is progressing quickly towards its climax, and there is still nothing about Deku's dad as of the making of this video, and I hope this changes soon. So the way I see it, a post-Timeskip MHA world would feature Deku as the world's greatest hero who also moonlights as a somewhat insecure UA teacher. He and Ochaco will end up together, and the next generation of UA students will feature Eri, Kota, and a bunch of new kids with overpowered quirks. All Might will either be a legend who sacrificed his life in the final battle against Shigaraki, or Deku's new daddy. Bakugo would make one of the worst and yet most entertaining UA teachers ever. He and Todoroki will definitely end up as top tier pro heroes, and Mineta will be the pro hero with the most restraining orders against him. Oh, and Medio would make an amazing UA teacher, and he's gonna definitely be one of the strongest heroes. Medio is just such an awesome guy, and his quirk actually required him to work extremely hard in order to master it. So I think that Medio is the perfect person to help a bunch of kids with overpowered quirks learn how to actually control them and use them properly. Finally, Miruko will become my wife. The end. Let me know what you guys think. Is there going to be a big time skip in MHA now that the story seems to be reaching its climax? And if there is a time skip, will it just be like a quick epilogue, or will we get a post-time skip continuation like Naruto Shippuden? Who will become the strongest pro heroes? Who will be the villains of the future? Who will end up together? Don't forget to share your thoughts down in the comments below. You guys know the drill. If you enjoyed these videos and you want to see more in the future, just leave a quick like and comment. It really helps with that YouTube algorithm. And if you're new to the channel, or maybe you watch our videos but you just haven't taken the time to subscribe yet, remember that subscribing and hitting that notification bell is a completely free but very real way of supporting the channel directly. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at Anime Uproar. I want to give a big thank you to all of our Anime Uproar patrons for making videos like this one possible. Special thank you to Kyle Salisbury. He is an absolute mad lad and a disciple of Lord Twigo himself. And I can't forget all of our The One tier patrons, the ones who stand above all other clans, including Alpha Sigma, Pate Hefa, the Red-Haired Fox, Hinokami and Water, the Toasted Chi, Corey McGowan, the Fallen Chosen, Spidey Leftonel, Tungsten Tarkus, and Baked Buddhist. Finally, thank you also to our Pro Hero tier patrons, including the one and only Gilgamesh, Angel Cruz, Alicia Octor, Bonnie Parks, Fatboy Games, Kaido Might Be a Duck, Jessica Rabbit, Olivania, and Mando. If you guys enjoy our videos and you feel that they provide value for you, consider supporting us on Patreon. Even a single $1 will give you access to our patron-exclusive Discord, and your name will appear in our videos along with these amazing people. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys!